LeBron once said that he has two overarching goals in his life. One is to be a global icon like Muhammad Ali, and the other is to be the richest athlete in the history of the world. And currently, there's room for debate about whether he's ever going to achieve either of these goals. At 41 years old, LeBron remains one of the highest paid men in the sport, still breaking records on a regular basis long after you'd assume that his time on top had elapsed.
But funny enough, this tweet has resurfaced 10 years later, because take a listen of what LeBron said to Luka before his Lakers debut.
Luka, be yourself. Don't fit in, out, be yourself. Here we go, dominate, 1, 2, 3, dominate.
The complete opposite of what he said to Kevin Love in 2015. And even Kevin Love responded on his Instagram. Punching the air right now, just my thoughts. Hashtag 10 years later, still a hater. Hashtag hurt my feelings.
But it's not been achieved without a lot of controversy. And as far as being universally revered around the world in the way that boxer and civil rights activist Muhammad Ali was, that's increasingly looking like it's never going to happen. Because in spite of all of his many accomplishments and the fact that some even argue that he might be the GOAT, there's something always lurking around the corner to bring him down a peg. At times, residing in the shadow of this kind of greatness can have its negatives on those around him.
Did you speak to LeBron James or talk to LeBron James before you and your representatives met with ownership and let them know that you wanted out?
No.
Why not?
Why would I have to?
While some of his own decision-making has led to people turning their back on someone who strives to be a role model, but perhaps falls short from time to time. It's your boy Louaista, live from Louaista, and this is the dark side of LeBron James. But if we're being honest, there's nowhere better to start than the inherent problems that seem to come from being around LeBron James. Over the course of his legendary run in the NBA, LeBron has morphed from simply being a player to basically serving as a leader for those who are on his squad. When needed, he can even be a very powerful motivator.
Luka, be yourself. Don't fit in, out, be yourself. Here we go, dominate, 1, 2, 3, dominate.
But standing side to side with him isn't a straightforward place to be. In fact, it shines an obscene light on your every move, not to mention that LeBron doesn't always help matters. Of course, some people that have played alongside him can innately handle the scrutiny.
Honestly, it's a gift and a curse with playing with Bron. Like I love Bron to death, and I love playing on this team because for me, I feel like I thrive more under the pressure. But a lot of guys don't like it because it's like, bro, don't get me wrong. Like, yes, he had 40, 15, 9, and 8, but he missed a free throw too. like, don't just look at me because I missed an open shot. It's like, we all missing out here. And if you're not built for that, you're not made for that, it's gonna eat you alive.
But others wilt under pressure or find themselves falling on the wrong side of LeBron in a way that they can't come back from. Got LeBron, you've got to make it all about LeBron. Tyson Chandler said a few days before he became LeBron's teammate on the Lakers. You've got to be able to coexist with that and fit with that. Who are you? Where are you in your career? And how do you fit in? It's a sacrifice, but it's a sacrifice for winning. And while many have found a way to make it work, the experience has taken a decisive toll on others. Among those who really struggled with it was Kevin Love. After becoming a franchise leading star during his time at the Minnesota Timberwolves, a move to the Cavs in 2014 essentially made him a third stringer behind LeBron and Kyrie Irving. And for the most part, this sparked an uphill battle for acceptance that still bothers him to this day.
He would have to go from a number one option for the Wolves to the third option behind LeBron and Kyrie on the Cavs, becoming more of a spot-up shooter to complement LeBron and Kyrie's game.
We've gone from being a number one option, a guy that touched the ball and played the game from the inside out, touched the ball, quite often, almost 20 shots a game, to then being really a floor spacer, a defensive rebounder. It was tough to accept, but all I wanted was recognition that, hey, listen, guys, like, I'm sacrificing a lot here. Like, I gave up likely the most on the team to be here and try to. All I want is just the recognition for that, and we can move on.
Initially, Kevin continued to simply do him, claiming that his motive was to fit out. But eventually, this proved to be a problem and led to an infamous subtweet from Bron. Stop trying to find a way to fit out and just fit in. Be a part of something special. Just my thoughts. And ultimately, this got to him in a big way.
That hurt my feelings.
Sir, like when you read that, I remember reading it at the time, like, damn, I feel bad for Kevin Love. Like, that's because it was such a subtweet to.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it was specifically you, but it was the whole team.
It was
it specifically you?
I mean, it was like, you do the 23andMe and then you get like, I'm 80%. Like I was majority that guy. Yeah, it's like 80% Kevin Love, 8% Dion Waiters, 3% Kyrie Irving. Delhi's like in the negative, right?
Yeah, right.
It's like negative wind shares on that.
Yeah.
But no, I was it's one of those things now, like I look back, I probably did take it personal in the moment. And it was tough for me. Like I had to adjust. That's all I wanted from those guys was to just have the recognition like, oh, this guy's sacrificing a lot. His learning curve having to do that is a little bit different.
The whole situation only added to what was a tough time for Kevin, leading to him lashing out on the court on numerous occasions.
Kevin Love had a tendency to lose patience with his younger teammates, resulting in these clips showing Kevin Love giving up in the middle of games.
I wasn't acting like a 31-year-old. I was acting like a 13-year-old. So I ended up hitting the seat. I was screaming into a towel. I'd gone to coach and say, hey, just take me out so I can collect myself.
In the years since it all happened, Kevin believed that his time spent in LeBron's shadow contributed to his well-documented mental health struggles.
Suffering with anxiety and depression for a long time into having my first panic attack on November 5th and not really knowing what that meant to fast forwarding being here now. It's changed my frame of mind, and I really do believe in writing my piece that everybody is going through something. So knowing that it doesn't discriminate and knowing that I'm trying to change the stigma not only for people in sports but all over. And I remember talking to my agent and he said, are you sure you want to do this? Because a lot of people are going to talk about it. I said, Jeff, I don't know if anybody will, but just understand I'm trying to help people. He goes, I get it. If you help one person, if you help one kid, it could be absolutely life-changing and groundbreaking for that kid.
Despite the issues that it presented, Kevin saw it as a valuable trade-off to be performing at the highest level. Love deals with the persecution of being a LeBron teammate, of being blamed, dealing with his social media undercutting, and being the fall guy, as he's called himself, said an insider. There have been so many days and nights where Kevin Love has walked out of a building feeling beleaguered or beaten down, either directly because of LeBron or indirectly. I have to give Kevin a real major hat tip for being a professional and being an adult about it. He has always seen the big picture. He has always maintained that this was all worth it. I mean, this is a guy who played for 6 years, whatever it was, never sniffed the playoffs. This is the charge for playing with James. Since then, they have patched it up, eventually becoming friends and making light of their previous friction.
Flashback. Wow. I mean, Kevin Love was there, but then he wasn't there because LeBron just jumped over him. Look at that. His head at the rim. And he throws it down. That is vintage LBJ. And then when they came out to start the third, Kevin Love said, this is how you treat your friends? This is how you treat your friends? Well, I wouldn't want to be your enemy.
But things aren't always that straightforward when it comes to him patching things up with ex-teammates, including the very man who served alongside James and Love at the Cavs. Initially signed to the Cavs as a #1 draft pick, Kyrie Irving's early career made it abundantly clear that he had what it takes to be king in Cleveland. After he became Rookie of the Year, Kyrie signed the 5-year extension, which made it evident that he was embedding himself into the team for good. But what he or his team didn't expect or anticipate is that LeBron was about to return to the very team where the superstar first made his name. Yet, even though the city rejoiced, Kyrie reportedly never hoped for Bron to join the team.
So I go back a long ways with this team. Kyrie, it has been made clear to me by multiple people, Kyrie never really wanted LeBron to come back in the first place. That he didn't think that it was necessary. LeBron said something to Kyrie on the court following a game when he was with Miami, something effective. Keep going, keep doing what you're doing. You never know, I could be back here one day or something like that. And Kyrie went in the locker room and basically said, we don't need that. What's he talking about? We don't need that guy. So Kyrie never really wanted him.
Right, and much like, Jason spoke to someone after the championship where LeBron, maybe that was the moment, okay, he's going to be leaving.
Even though it was off to a rocky start, the chemistry on the court was apparent. The problem was that at every turn, the young Kyrie was being belittled by interviewers who basically only wanted to talk about James.
Kristen called LeBron a great father after the Chicago game. What? Yes, he did.
Great father? Oh, a great father. Oh, I thought he's... No, I'm bad. I interpreted that completely wrong. Okay. I thought you said he was a great father to him. I was like, what?
Called him a great father. So what type of parental role has he played for you and your teammates, LeBron?
Oh, okay. So Parental role. Honestly, I'm he's. I don't know how to really answer that question.
Ultimately, the duo helped Cavs win the finals in 2016, but the success could never be replicated. And by all accounts, the friction between them was apparent from beginning to end. Together, over 3 years, the duo played in 2 All-Star games and 3 finals. They weren't particularly close, nor were they openly at odds. Teammates say LeBron's habit of referring to Kyrie as the kid and his little brother was eventually viewed by Irving as a subtle lack of disrespect. And sure enough, Kyrie left a team that once seemed to be the place where his career would flourish. I would have loved to choose the franchise I wanted to go to. I would have loved to develop next to some of my favorite players. It's not that I dislike playing with LeBron. It was just literally my time to move on. In the aftermath of the news breaking, LeBron was in his feelings online, listening to Meek Mill on his IG story and emphasizing that people said they were with you when they really not. As for Kyrie, he unfollowed him as he moved on to the Celtics, but ultimately apologized a little later for some of his stubbornness.
I'll tell you one thing, and obviously this is something that it was a big deal for me because I had to call Bron, and tell him I apologize for being that young player that wanted to everything at his fingertips, and I wanted everything to be at, my threshold. I wanted to be the guy that led us to championship. I wanted to be the leader. I wanted to be all that, and the responsibility of being the best player in the world and leading a team is something that's not meant for many people. And Bron was one of those guys that came to Cleveland and tried to really show us what it's like to win a championship, and it was hard for him. And sometimes getting the most out of the group, it's not the easiest thing in the world. And like I said, only few are meant for it or chosen for it. And I feel like the best person to call was him because he's been in the situation. He's been there with me where I've been the young guy of being a 22-year-old kid and wanting everything. Wanting everything right now. Coming off an All-Star year starting, and then this heck of a presence comes back, and now I got to adjust my game to this guy.
But while other basketball players came to Irving's side during his anti-Semitic rants and demanded that he be reinstated to the league, it appeared that the I Stand With Kyrie hashtag wasn't something that he seemed eager to fall in line with.
Don't condone any hate to any kind, to any race, to Jewish communities, to black communities, to Asian communities. You guys know where I stand, and it's part of the reason why I didn't air the Shop episode, why we kicked that, out of the archives, because there was hate conversation going on there, and I don't represent that. There's no place in this world for it. Nobody can benefit from that, and I believe what Kyrie did caused some harm to a lot of people.
And instantly, that went down like a lead balloon with fans. You and your entire family are the biggest puppets of the industry. But when the pressure mounted, LeBron backed down and claimed that he did in fact support Kyrie. I told you guys that I don't believe in sharing hurtful information, and I'll continue to be that way, but Kyrie apologized and he should be able to play. That's what I think. It's that simple. James said in a tweet, helped him learn, but he should be playing. What he's asked to do to get back on the floor, I think is excessive in my opinion. He's not the person that's being portrayed of him. Anyways, back to my rehab session. In the eyes of his critics, this flip-flopping proved that he valued preserving his own brand relationships more than those with his players. And trust me, I'll be back to that later. As for Kyrie, as always, he refused to play politics and has unveiled his true feelings. So where others would feel a little skittish about saying anything negative about the king, Kyrie implied that KD was the best player he'd ever been on a team with, rather than LeBron himself.
The 7-11 duo of me and KD will never be topped in terms of just being on the court with somebody that special, right? So let me get that disclaimer out, all right? Let me get that disclaimer out. I played with a lot of great players, but playing with KD, it was OD, all right? He's one of the best of all time. Obviously, we all have our strengths and weaknesses.
And for Bron, this was a considerable blow.
When I heard the comment that Kyrie made, I wanted to, one, not only find the whole transcript, but also call my people, send me the whole transcript. And I heard he had did it on Katie's podcast. I was a little like damn. Once I got the whole transcript, I was like, damn. I wasn't like, oh, you tripping, I hit game-winning shots my whole life. I was not like that. I was like, damn, because you were there for a couple seasons. I mean, I played with Kyrie for 3 seasons. The whole time while I was there, I only wanted to see him be an MVP of our league. I only cared about his success, and it just didn't align. It just didn't align, and we was able to win a championship. That's the craziest thing. We were still able to win a championship, and we could never align. But I only cared about his well-being.
Although he's never played on a team alongside him other than on national teams, KD is a man who's had his own issues with Bron. Over the years, they've harbored a largely competitive rivalry that's not founded on personal disdain, but just a love of the game.
You play as you?
No, that's kind of arrogant.
No, you have to play as you. Who do you play as?
Anybody.
Just tell me. Who do you play as?
All right, LeBron.
By and large, the praise has gone both ways.
A lot of people felt like Bron's skills wasn't equal to his athleticism. And he ate 9 threes the other night. And he still got that youthful energy. He popping around everywhere, diving over the front row, like still taking off on people. Like, it's inspiring to see. As a competitor, it's like, man, f that, I can do that. But then it's like, damn, he was in year 20.
Yeah.
He's 38 years old. He goes through so much off the floor as just a man in general. Family, he got so many responsibilities. Still love the game, still getting up, playing back-to-backs and shit, still playing 40 minutes. He's like, man, salute to that.
But there have been issues on KD's end when it comes to the energy that surrounds him. Because in Durant's opinion, the cult atmosphere isn't good for the sport or anyone else. So much hype comes from being around LeBron from other people, Durant said. He has so many fanboys in the media. Even the beat writers just fawn for him. I'm like, we're playing basketball here. It's not even about basketball at certain points. So I get why anyone wouldn't want to be in that environment because it's toxic, especially when the attention is bullshit, attention, fluff. It's not LeBron's fault at all. It's just the fact that so many groupies in the media that love to hang on every word. Just get out of the way and let us play basketball. And to no one's surprise, James was angered by it, but it ultimately didn't drive a wedge between them.
He called the media environment around you, quote, toxic.
I was a little pissed off when I first heard it. I was pissed, my family was pissed, my friends was pissed. You know, I don't feel like it's ever been toxic. Toxic is like you don't want to be around that. Got a phone call from KD. We talked about it, and you know, as a man, I don't hold on to things too long. I'm too happy in my life right now. He apologized on how it came out, and I said, all right, we move on from there.
The reason this is interesting is because while KD was an outsider and believed that the issue was the people in his vicinity, one of his former teammates believed that the issue was LeBron himself. When Russell Westbrook was scheduled to join the Lakers, they once again had the prospect of a super team. Signed to a $47 million deal, LeBron initially took on challengers amid claims that they weren't going to live up to expectations. Keep talking about my squad, the personal ages, the way he plays, he stays injured, we're past our prime in this league, etc, etc. Do me one favor please, and I mean please, keep that same energy. But unfortunately, that's exactly what happened and the team faltered, with Westbrook playing the worst basketball of his entire career. After just 2 seasons, he promptly left the team, and in his exit interview, he suggested that things weren't ever set up for him to succeed. I would say this, when I first got here, and just being a person that unfortunately people create narratives of me and who I am and what I do and what I believe in that are just not true, I'm always having to prove myself again year after year after year, which to me is fair and really no reason to do that. So when I first got here, I just felt like I never was given a fair chance just to be who I needed to be able to help this team. From top to bottom, just every aspect, what I bring to an organization is not just basketball. I am well faceted in different aspects of my life, whether it's the community, whether it's the leadership, whether it's different things of helping other teammates and people and creating friendships and relationships. Because that's the bigger goal, because basketball is a short time in your life. And you have the ability to create friendships and relationships in that time. But when you have to try to prove to people or try to let people take this perception of who they think of me, it kind of takes you coming in and good luck, you know? I just felt like I never had a fair chance on the basketball front or any front. And by the time he ventured off to the Clippers, he strongly implied that he was thrilled to be away from it all.
Well, long list, but we don't got enough time for that today. But honestly, man, I think one, I'm just, and I know I reiterate this, but I'm very grateful for an opportunity and a team that wanted me during the tough time, just overall for myself and basketball-wise, being able to come to a spot where I was embraced and show, welcome. And
Russ initially kept things vague. not naming exactly who or what had gotten under his skin. But Yaron Weitzman's book, A Hollywood Ending: The Dreams and Drama of the LeBron Lakers, paints a pretty revealing picture of how Westbrook truly felt about his superstar teammate. According to the book, Westbrook grew frustrated with what he saw as LeBron's two-faced behavior. Behind closed doors, LeBron was quietly pushing for a reunion with Kyrie Irving, a move that would have required trading Westbrook, while publicly denying any such interest. He'd tell interviewers, "Let Russ be Russ," but that support never translated to anything real behind the scenes. One moment that apparently struck with Westbrook came during a team event where Will Smith was brought in to speak. LeBron and Anthony Davis slipped out just before he arrived, only to return minutes later, acting as if nothing happened, with LeBron promptly taking over the room, peppering Smith with questions and reciting movie lines. Amazingly, it didn't even stop there, with various issues that had nothing to do with the team and relating specifically to James as a person also came up. Westbrook saw multiple examples of LeBron misrepresenting himself, like claiming that The Godfather was his favorite movie, but not knowing a single line, carrying the autobiography of Malcolm X in interviews without being able to discuss it, and even saying he predicted Kobe's 81-point game. These moments made Russ view LeBron as inauthentic. And in hindsight, it's no surprise that Westbrook was in his feelings, considering James really did appear to be openly annoyed when Russ wasn't traded to bring Kyrie to LA.
Well, definitely disappointed. I can't sit here and say I'm not disappointed on not being able to land such a talent, but someone that I had great chemistry with, and know I got great chemistry with on the floor, that can help you win, championships. In my mind, in my eyes. But my focus has shifted now. My focus has shifted back to where it should be, and that's this club now, and what we have in the locker room.
That's a quick pivot, LeBron.
It's a quick pivot. Quick pivot. It don't take me long. It don't take me long. I don't get too excited about the possibilities of things that can be. I kind of envision myself on what it can, but I don't invest it all the way until I know it's happening. And when it does not happen, I'm back locked in on the job at hand. So, we had an opportunity. I think our names was out there. The Lakers' name was out there. We had an opportunity. Didn't happen. We move on, and we finish the season strong. Try to get a bid into the postseason, where I feel if we go in healthy, we compete with anybody.
And speaking of trades, there are people who believe that Russ certainly isn't the only teammate to be thrown under the bus by Bron. After years of playing in tandem and finding a great deal of success, LeBron reportedly had no idea of the abrupt Anthony Davis trade to Dallas that made way for Luka Doncic. Did these dudes just trade me? Davis wrote in a group chat before wishing his now former teammates luck in leaving the group. In response, LeBron replied simply, "What the fuck?" and denied all knowledge.
I was out. You got seen the report. I was out with my family at dinner and got the news. And first time I heard it, I thought it was for sure fake. I thought it was a hoax. People messing around, whatever. But then when AD called me, AD FaceTimed me, and I talked to him for quite a while. And even when I got off the phone with him, it still didn't seem real, and it still pretty much didn't seem real until saw Luka today, and then I saw a clip of AD at the Dallas shoot-around.
But no matter what LeBron said in front of the camera, there was still an undercurrent of feeling that he knew precisely what was happening. It made them agree with Westbrook's assessment of the star. Russ is right, dude's a phony and always has been. Great player, great talent, he's a fake. As it turned out, this skepticism wasn't limited to outsiders either, as AD certainly had his own reservations too. When it happened, I honestly didn't know shit, Davis recalled. He's been my running teammate for 6 years, so the first thing I wanted to do was call him. Obviously, I know there was going to be a lot of political things in the front office when they talk to me. The front office has to do what it has to do, and obviously they're going to do what's best for the organization. So I don't know if I ever got the real about any of it. I don't know what's true or what's not coming from upstairs. So I'm gonna go to my counterpart who I've been running with and see what's going on, get his reaction, and that's all it was. We had a conversation and that was it. Everybody's saying nobody knew and all this other shit. I just don't believe it. But hey man, I'm past that. I'm ready to move forward with Dallas. Try to get a championship there with these guys. First off, getting back on the floor and getting ready to compete. All the emotions, that shit lasted that night when it was just a shock. And while Davis isn't exactly saying that he's officially pointing the finger at Bron, those with grievances see it as pretty much a sign of how he's rolled his entire career.
Only reason the trade went down is because LeBron approved it. There's no way in hell the Lakers would trade Anthony Davis without LeBron's knowledge and without his approval. Like Olympic Bean illustrated, dude has been basically playing 2K with his career, moving around the league, trying to play with all the max rating players to win easy championships, cheating the game about as bad as you can do it. 2K Bron.
To his haters, LeBron is a man who is calculated to a fault, tailoring his public image alongside a team of PR heavy hitters. This is headed up by none other than Clutch Sports, the Rich Paul-led agency of whom Bron was one of his first clients. In fact, long before he was managing his career, Rich was just Bron's friend who was handed a golden opportunity. Naturally, this is where his ultimate loyalty lies. But when discussing the job of managing a billionaire athlete, Rich has claimed that having the biggest player in the sport on his roster is a gift and a curse.
It's more challenging, at least for me. Now, when they have it, or have him, or if you got this person, it's a different dynamic. You can use your client list and it's to your benefit. It's to your benefit. But when it's me and it's my client list, or I got the stars, it's a detriment that comes with that. People don't understand. It's like, oh, you had LeBron, it should be easy. No, it's actually harder. You know why it's harder? Because we come from a place where there can only be one king. Our environment teaches us to always be competitive. There's no collaboration. There's no communication. There's no connectivity that's there. There's no compounding of anything. So it actually becomes harder. And by the way, I've lost clients because of that.
However, much like Bron himself, his agent has been accused of various instances of shady behavior, with some of his fellow professionals taking issue with how he rolls. A few years back, an agent survey conducted by The Athletic gave us indication of how he was viewed by his peers, and let's just say it was pretty damning. The worst thing that LeBron is doing is forcing this power with Rich Paul. And what that is, in terms of, he's a player, but he has prowess in the media space. His company Spring Hill, that's awesome. Doing the movies and all of the projects, that's so commendable, I love that. But now that they've jumped into the agent game, which the reality is, it's illegal for a player, particularly if you're in the state of California, to be licensed to represent talent. Now, I know it's this facade that it's Rich Paul, but it's really LeBron who recruits for Rich Paul. So it's almost like they're trying to control AAU with the NBA level. This is my AAU team, and they've carried that to the highest level. And because of his power and his prowess, the young players are seduced by LeBron James in the same way people are seduced by Michael Jordan and David Falk. The only disappointment is LeBron has leveraged his popularity with young players by seducing them for clutch, and it's not serving all the players well. But for the players that are suffering, there's no repercussions. Nobody is criticizing what they're doing, and you have to call out the union. They should be meeting with Rich Paul saying, what happened here? What happened here? They represent all the players. They all pay the same amount for dues. If Rich Paul was a lawyer, he'd be disbarred 5 times. But because LeBron is so powerful, there is no accountability. And that's the only bad part with LeBron. Everything else is great. It's commendable. It's progressive. I love it. The part that he's pushed Rich Paul in this position and these naive basketball players, that's pretty egregiously irresponsible. Among those who claim that they weren't served well by Rich is a former employee known as Mark Termini. He was sued for $4.9 million by an agent who claimed that Paul had cut him out of his share of fees earned from signing 2 NBA players. The case was eventually settled with the agency footing the bill. Then there is Nerlens Noel. While he was his client, Paul advised him to turn down a $70 million contract extension with the Dallas Mavericks to sign a 1-year, $4 million deal. And in hindsight, he obviously realized that this wasn't a good move at all.
Being an agent or any of these things to understand whether or not this is something that you can actually sue for. However, it does look bad for Rich Paul that it got to this point. And the big question you always have to ask yourself when you have an agent is, how important am I to him? Because he can't treat everybody the same. The care and detail that he gives LeBron James, he's not going to be able to give to a dude like Nerlens Noel. I just feel bad for him because literally nothing in his career has gone the way that it was supposed to, and he's actually a pretty good player.
And by January 2023, the thing was settled. At this rate, it's no surprise that Rich basically feels untouchable, moving in ways that other agents wouldn't dare.
Rich Paul is a power broker. Rich Paul goes on a podcast over the weekend and says the Lakers should trade Austin Reeves and says, send that guy to Memphis and get this player, that player, etc. And then he goes on another podcast and says Dallas should trade my client Anthony Davis right now. And Davis, of course, is out with another injury for another 6 weeks with his hand injury and has refused to have surgery. I have never seen, and I inquired with somebody that covers the NBA, I've never seen agents conduct business in public like this. He has no right, and it's a violation of the Code of Ethics of Agents. It's written there in the union handbook. He has no right to talk about players represented by other agents.
But this might not be the best tactic considering that there is some drama swirling around Rich and LeBron due to the recent gambling scandal. It all started when the mob was accused of paying Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones to act as face cards to attract high rollers to big money poker games.
Chauncey Billups, according to federal prosecutors, was the lure, the mafia allegedly paying him for his celebrity to attract high rollers to poker tables in the Hamptons, in Las Vegas, in Miami, and right here in Manhattan, so they would gamble, so they would play poker. What those people didn't know was that everyone else at the table was in on the scam.
And if you're wondering why this is a problem for Rich and LeBron, let me explain. For one thing, Chauncey is clicked up with Clutch. And when he was made to appear before a judge, he mysteriously decided to flaunt the fact on his chest. And to some, there was a hidden agenda here. Chauncey Billups wore a brown Clutch sports hoodie to his federal court appearance. This is a bad signal for LeBron and Clutch Sports. Chauncey is telling them, y'all better get me out of here or I'm snitching. Then there's Damon Jones, a man who is a close confidant of LeBron himself and has spent years as his personal shooting coach. Reportedly, Damon used this exact tie to Bron to do no shortage of dubious things. Before one poker game in the Hamptons, Jones asked for a favor, a $10,000 advance. God really blessed me that you have action for me, he texted one of the defendants, cause I needed it today bad. That day, he received $2,500 and instructions to study two skilled poker players who were described as the LeBron James and Stephen Curry of cheating. Y'all know I know what I'm doing, Jones replied. As for the NBA, a story from the Wall Street Journal revealed that in February 2023, Jones learned that LeBron James, referred to in the indictment as Player 3, would be sidelined with an ankle injury against the Milwaukee Bucks that night. He picked up his phone. Get a big bet on Milwaukee tonight before the information is out, Jones texted. Bet enough so D. Jones can eat too now. At the time, James was listed as questionable on the injury report. Sure enough, he was soon declared out and the Lakers lost. Although he's tried to distance himself from it, his ties to Jones means that LeBron is implicated whether he wants to be or not. And when asked about the likelihood of him being involved, former crooked NBA ref Tim Donaghy feels the prospect of LeBron and other players of his caliber giving out information is entirely probable.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind some of these star players might have been, saying something to their buddies back home that they weren't playing or one of the other guys weren't playing or they weren't 100%. And bets were placed and money was made. I think that, sometimes people with power and money feel like the rules don't apply to them and they're not going to get caught. And you get a little bit cocky like I did and think that you're going to get away with something like this and you just don't. You eventually always get caught.
Besides, this isn't even the first time it's happened. LeBron's close friend and business partner Maverick Carter allegedly admitted to federal agents that he placed illegal bets on NBA games. And because there's no shortage of coincidences racking up, some are not buying his claim of ignorance after so many instances.
Why does he always seem to not know when something wrong is happening right beside him? 4 major cases, 4 close people, 4 times he didn't know. At some point, that line stops being believable. At some point, pretending not to see becomes a choice. Surrounded by people doing questionable things, protected by layers of media and PR, untouchable by accountability. That's not a coincidence, that's a system. And like all systems been built on silence.
In the end, Jones pleaded not guilty to 2 charges, was released on a $200,000 bond, and he is prohibited from gambling or making contact with organized crime as part of the bond terms. In the aftermath of this latest incident, LeBron has led with the idea that he hasn't been on speaking terms with his former shooting coach for a while. And in a lot of ways, it's hard to decry that when you know that he protects the LeBron brand at all times. But where that makes sense for the most part, there are some instances where that desire for retaining his financial prosperity has led to claims of cowardice. Back in the day, LeBron seemed to want to be more than a basketball player and appeared to be politically engaged. During times of major upheaval, James appeared to want to do his part. During his time at Miami, he posed with his teammates in hoodies to protest the murder of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin, before he then wore a t-shirt that said, "I can't breathe," during warm-ups following the killing of Eric Garner. Afterwards, he came after Trump, believing that he was not fit for office and tangibly wanted to divide the citizens of the country.
You got into a name-calling situation with the president?
No. A name calling. What'd I say? Let me hear
him-
you say it.
Called him a bum.
It's not a name call. It's no, you bum. Me and my friends call each other that all the time. I'm not his friend though. I don't want to see that on the note. He's not my friend.
Hey, and
no. That was the first thing that when I woke up and saw what he said about Steph Curry. First of all, it's so funny because it's like you invite me to your party, right? But matter of fact, it's not like you invited me. It's almost like, Tom, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm not coming. And then you'd be like, hey, LeBron, guess what? You're not invited. I wasn't coming anyways. So that was funny to me when I woke up and saw that.
Basically, he was once such a thorn in the side of the establishment that Lauren Ingram came at him.
We're going to create a new banner. This is a Jum Doc alert.
Laura Ingram showcasing this video from the Uninterrupted featuring James and NBA star Kevin Durant.
The number one job in America, the point of person, is someone who doesn't understand the people and really don't give a about the people.
I feel like our team as a country is not ran by a great coach.
Must they run their mouths like that? So keep the political commentary to yourself, or as someone once said, shut up and dribble.
That statement quickly lighting up social media. Other pro athletes jumping to James's defense, many calling Ingram's remarks racist.
Many claim my line that LeBron should shut up and dribble was racist. What? I'll tell you something, if you're a white NBA player and you said that stuff that he said about Obama, you'd never play again.
Interestingly, he wound up trademarking that controversial phrase, "shut up and dribble," gaining a license to place it on things such as downloadable virtual goods, namely computer programs featuring footwear, clothing, headwear, eyewear, bags, sports bags, backpacks, sports equipment, art, toys, and accessories for use online and in online virtual worlds. But the only problem is that rather than this feeling like a middle finger to his critics, LeBron is actually doing just that at the moment, choosing to play it safe rather than rock the boat. During a recent media appearance, LeBron horrified most people with a conscience when he not only praised Israel, but basically suggested that they were the good guys.
From Channel 14 in Israel, for all the Israeli fans, what message would you like to send for Israel, and also what do you think about Danny Avdia?
Well, I've been quoted on Danny already, and they asked me what I thought about this season. I said I believe he was an all-star, and he is an all-star. He's playing, exceptional, basketball. So that's that. And then, if I have fans over there, I've never been there. If I have fans over there, then I hope you have been following my career. I hope I inspire people over there to not only want to be great in sports, but I want you to be better in general in life. So hopefully someday I can make it over there. Like I said, I've never been over there, but I've heard nothing but great things, and I appreciate the question.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you, LeBron.
This raises the question of who exactly he's hearing these great things from, because he's certainly not former teammates with Dwight Howard and Kyrie Irving, or other outspoken league players like Tariq Abdul-Wahad or Eaton Thomas. Plus, the public as a whole were not willing to stand by and let him get away with this.
Nothing but great things.
I have never been so disappointed. What the fuck did he say? While everyone is entitled to either express their opinions or withhold them, the issue is that if LeBron still wants to be viewed as Muhammad Ali, this is a funny way to go about it. If you didn't know, Ali went to free Palestine demonstrations in the 1970s and the 80s, spending his whole life fighting for causes he believed in, and even losing years of his career after refusing to be dragged into the Vietnam War. Meanwhile, LeBron isn't sacrificing anything other than his credibility, and at the moment, he's running out of time to salvage that.
At what point he's gonna start showing his age?
Like 4 years ago.
Can you show the video of LeBron again, man?
Don't they look like that meme that put the cigarette in his mouth?
That's Miami Bron. He got the thin neck.
Some would call the Ozempic neck.
At some point, you gonna start the season and then not play for 20 games and come back. You better not come out there dunking it. I don't see no dunks.
So when people say, is he declining? We was in a league where when he jumped, his chin was over the rim.
Yeah, you know he declined.
Over the rim. Now, you see this. It looked good for them because they don't remember the guy who was sitting here looking at the rim. Now we see him on the fast break. We can see, yeah, he's slow, right? He used to be 110 speed out of 100. Now he probably, 91, 92?
Now in his 23rd season, LeBron isn't quite ready to call it quits on building his legacy. In fact, Fox Sports' Rick Butcher believes that he's only still around in an effort to try and pad the stats.
LeBron James has stayed in games to achieve some sort of statistical mark so routinely now that we're almost numb to it. The latest being the oldest player to ever achieve a triple-double. Can't remember who they were playing. I just know that the game was out of hand. There was no reason for him to be on the floor. I believe Austin Reeves ended up grabbing 2 rebounds that LeBron wanted.
But while that seems pretty harsh, the big issue that LeBron seems to be facing at the moment is overexposure. After being in the spotlight for over 20 years, it's really no surprise that he's racked up enough dubious asterisks to his name to have people looking at him in a new, far more scathing light. But what we do know through time is that when it comes to stars in sport, we can't miss them until he's gone. Although not yet on his farewell tour, LeBron doesn't appear to be entirely sure where he goes from here.
LeBron hasn't made a decision on whether he's going to continue to play. I think the feeling around LeBron James, around the league, is that he's going to go at least one more season. And a lot of how the Lakers season finishes will play a big factor into LeBron James' future, right? How does their season end? How does his season end? How's his health? How is he feeling mentally, emotionally, and all that? But did we see that dive that he had?
But one thing that isn't being debated is if he's still an asset to any team.
I think everyone around the NBA would expect him to be a supporting cast, high-level player that can on one night be a number 1 option, maybe another night he's number 2, and on this type of night, he's diving on the floor head first for loose balls. To me, it shows awareness of where he is in his career.
Blessed with both incredible skills and a mental determination like few others, LeBron is no doubt going to go out with a bang. But ultimately, it's then and only then that LeBron, both as a man and a teammate and a player, can be properly evaluated, both for the darkness that's under the surface and the undeniable contributions he's made to the game he's dedicated his life to, making billions along the way. One thing's for sure, it's gonna be interesting to see how this season plays out. My name's Louaista, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.